Imagine having a pet parrot at home. You try everything to teach it to talk. You say sweet words, you offer treats, you even try to kiss it. But the parrot refuses to speak. And then one day, when you least expect it, it suddenly starts talking, only to insult you. Sounds funny, right? Today's lesson is exactly about such a parrot, a stubborn, clever, and slightly mischievous bird who shocked everyone by finally speaking. Dear students, today we are studying chapter 27, The Parrot Who Wouldn't Talk, written by Ruskin Bond. This is a humorous story. It teaches us about human behavior, kindness towards animals, irony, and how words affect others. This story is set in North India in the narrator's grandmother's bungalow. It revolves around Aunt Ruby, the young narrator, a 10-year-old boy, grandfather and granny, and of course the parrot. Now, let us understand the story in detail. The story opens with Aunt Ruby taunting the parrot. She says, "You are no beauty, can't talk, can't sing, can't dance." The parrot sits in an ornamental cage at one end of the veranda. The word ornamental means decorative. The parrot looks at everyone morosely. Morosely means gloomily or sadly. In those days, keeping parrots as pets was common among both Indians and Europeans. Many parrots were good mimics. A mimic is someone who imitates. Some parrots learned to recite mantras. Some repeated sentences like "Pado beta, pado" or "Don't be greedy." They learned these expressions after hearing them repeatedly. But this parrot refused to talk. The parrot was bought by Aunt Ruby from a bird catcher. The, the bird catcher sold many birds, sparrows painted to look exotic, munias and budgies. Granny and grandfather did not like the idea of keeping birds in cages. But Aunt Ruby threatened to throw a tantrum. A tantrum means an outburst of bad temper. And according to the narrator, Aunt Ruby's tantrums were dreadful to behold. So finally, she got the parrot. Aunt Ruby tried to make the parrot talk. She would sweetly say, "Kiss, kiss." She would put her face near the cage, but the parrot disliked her instantly. It would move back angrily. One day, it suddenly lunged forward and knocked her spectacles off her nose. After that, Aunt Ruby stopped being loving. She became hostile. She made faces at the bird and insulted it repeatedly. Can't talk, can't sing, can't dance. Notice something here. Students, Aunt Ruby expects the bird to talk, but she keeps insulting it. Do you think that helps? No. Instead of kindness, she shows anger. The narrator and the parrot. The responsibility of feeding the parrot fell upon the narrator, who was 10 years old. The boy fed it green chilies, ripe tomatoes, mango slices. It was mango season. The narrator happily ate mangoes too while feeding the bird. The parrot seemed comfortable with the boy. This shows the importance of kindness. The boy did not force the parrot, he simply fed it gently. One afternoon, while everyone was sleeping, the narrator deliberately left the cage door open. The word deliberately means intentionally. The parrot immediately flew away to the mango orchard. Grandfather saw it and calmly said, "I see your aunt's parrot has escaped." The boy casually replied, "The door was quite loose." Grandfather did not seem upset. Aunt Ruby was upset and wanted another bird. But grandfather suggested goldfish instead. He jokingly suggested buying her a gramophone so she could listen to Clara Cluck, who sang like a nightingale. This part adds humor to the story. The narrator thought they would never see the parrot again, but a few days later he found the bird sitting on the veranda railing. It was looking expectantly at him. The boy gave it half of his mango. At that moment, Aunt Ruby came out and exclaimed happily, "Look, it's my parrot. It has come back. He must have missed me." But the parrot had other ideas. It flew to a rose bush and suddenly shrieked, "You are no beauty. Can't talk, can't sing, can't dance." Exactly the same words Aunt Ruby had used earlier. The parrot had learned to mimic her insults. Aunt Ruby turned ruby red and rushed inside. The irony. From that day onward, whenever the parrot saw Aunt Ruby, it repeated the same insults. So finally, the parrot had learned to talk. But what did it learn? Not sweet words, not loving words. It learned insults. This is the biggest irony of the story. The bird did not speak when forced or flattered. It spoke after hearing repeated negative comments. So now let us look at the characters. Aunt Ruby was impatient, proud, easily angered, slightly humorous character. The narrator, kind, clever, observant and compassionate. Grandfather, calm, wise and humorous. The parrot, intelligent, observant, sensitive and independent. Students, let us understand the themes of this story. Kindness versus harshness, freedom, irony, human ego and power of words. The story teaches us that words have power. Even animals respond to how we treat them. If we speak negatively, negativity returns to us. The moral is simple. Treat others with kindness. Do not insult or mock others. Words can come back to us. Also, freedom is important. The parrot only truly expressed itself after gaining freedom. Let me conclude here, children. The Parrot Who Wouldn't Talk is a light-hearted, humorous story, but it carries a meaningful message. Ruskin Bond uses a simple language and gentle humor to show how human behavior affects others. The parrot did not refuse to talk. It was simply waiting to repeat what it heard most. And unfortunately for Aunt Ruby, that was an insult. If this explanation helped you understand the chapter clearly, make sure you revise the lesson carefully. Subscribe to this channel, turn on the notification bell and share this video with your classmates. Let's continue learning together.